I never believed in the paranormal. Ghosts, spirits, hauntings, none of that stuff ever made sense to me. I'm a logical guy, always have been. I need evidence, something I can see or touch or explain with science. That's why what happened to me last winter still messes with my head. It shakes me to my core, because I can't rationalize it away, no matter how hard I try. This isn't some urban legend or a tale I picked up online. This is my story. It happened to me, in a house I wish I'd never set foot in. It all started when I decided to move out to rural Ohio. I'd been working remotely as a software developer for a few years, and the city life in Cleveland was getting to me. The noise, the crowds, the constant rush. I wanted solitude, a place where I could focus without distractions. I found this small rental house on a listing site. It was a steel 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, on a couple of acres surrounded by thick woods. The rent was half what I'd pay anywhere else, and the photos showed a cozy little bungalow with a wraparound porch. The ad said it had been vacant for a bit, but that didn't raise any red flags. Small towns like this one, population maybe 500, have plenty of empty houses. People move away for jobs, and properties sit idle. I signed the lease site unseen, packed up my truck, and drove out there in early December. The drive was peaceful, winding roads flanked by bare trees and fields dusted with the first snow of the season. When I pulled up, the house looked just like the picture's faded blue siding, a gravel driveway that crunched under my tires, and that big front porch with a single rocking chair left behind by whoever lived there before. The air was crisp and cold, carrying the scent of pine from the woods. Inside it was basic but clean, hardwood floors that creaked a little, a kitchen with outdated appliances, and a living room with a stone fireplace. I set up my computer in the spare bedroom, stocked the fridge, and settled in. For the first week, everything was perfect. Quiet days working, evenings reading by the fire, and nights so silent you could hear your own breathing. No neighbors dropping by, no traffic sounds, just me and the occasional owl hooting in the trees. But then, on the 8th night, something changed. It was around 1:30 a.m. I'd been up late binge-watching a documentary on my laptop, trying to unwind after a long day of debugging code. The house was dark except for the glow from my screen, and outside, a light snow was falling, blanketing everything in white. I was just about to shut things down and head to bed when I heard it. 3 slow knocks on the front door. Knock, knock, knock. Not pounding, not urgent, just deliberate, like someone who knew exactly what they were doing. I froze in my chair, the laptop still humming on my lap. My heart skipped a beat. Who the hell would be knocking at this hour? I lived miles from town. The nearest gas station was a 15-minute drive, and my closest neighbor was an old farmer a good 10 minutes down the road. No one knew I was here except my boss and a couple of friends back in the city, and they sure weren't driving out in the middle of the night. I checked my phone quickly. No missed calls, no texts, nothing. The knocks didn't repeat, but the silence that followed felt heavier somehow. I grabbed my flashlight from the kitchen drawer, the big heavy one I kept for emergencies, and crept to the front door. The floorboards groaned under my feet, amplifying every step. I peered through the peephole, expecting, I don't know, maybe a stranded motorist or a lost hiker. But there was nothing. Just the empty porch, the rocking chair swaying slightly in the wind, and snowflakes drifting lazily under the porch light. No footprints in the fresh snow, no tire tracks in the driveway. I flipped on the exterior light and cracked the door open, shining the beam into the yard. Empty. The woods loomed dark and still beyond the tree line. I told myself it was probably an animal, a branch falling against the door, or maybe some kids from town playing a prank, though that seemed unlikely given the distance. I locked the door, double-checked the windows, and went to bed. But sleep didn't come easy. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying those knocks in my mind. They sounded so human. The next day passed normally. I worked, made coffee, even took a walk in the woods to clear my head. The snow had stopped, leaving everything sparkling under a pale sun. I laughed off the night before as my imagination running wild from too much screen time. That evening, I installed a cheap security camera I'd brought with me, just a basic Wi-Fi model pointed at the porch. It recorded motion and sent alerts to my phone. Felt like overkill, but it gave me peace of mind. Night 2. I went to bed early, around 11 p.m., exhausted from the poor sleep the night before, but at exactly 1:30 a.m., I checked the clock. The knocking came again. 3 times, slower than before, but louder, like whoever it was wanted to make sure I heard. I bolted upright, adrenaline surging. This time I didn't move. I just sat there in the dark, blankets pulled up, listening. After 10 seconds or so, it stopped. No more sounds. My phone didn't buzz with a motion alert from the camera. I waited another hour before mustering the courage to check the footage on my app. Nothing. The porch was empty all night. No one approached, no shadows, no disturbances in the snow. It was as if the knocks had come from thin air. Now I was unsettled. I started questioning things. Maybe the house had settling issues, old wood expanding and contracting in the cold, or perhaps wind rattling the doorframe. I inspected the door in the morning, solid oak, no loose panels. I even knocked on it myself to compare the sound. It matched perfectly, but how could that be without someone there? On the 3rd night, I tried to prepare. I left all the lights on, kept the TV playing low in the background for noise, and had my phone ready to call the sheriff if needed. I dozed off around midnight, but woke to the sound of knocking again, this time not from the front door. It was coming from inside the house, from the hallway wall right outside my bedroom. Knock, 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 slow, echoing through the quiet. My blood turned to ice. I sat up so fast the room spun. "Hello?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the pounding in my chest. No answer, just the creak of the house settling, or was that footsteps? I fumbled for the lamp, flooding the room with light. Knife from the kitchen. I'd placed it on my nightstand just in case. I gripped it tight and edged to the door. The hallway was empty. I flipped on every switch, checked the bathroom, the living room, the closets. Doors locked, windows secure. No signs anyone had been inside. But those knocks, they were real. I could feel the vibration in the walls. I didn't sleep. Dawn came slow, gray light filtering through the curtains. I paced the kitchen, coffee in hand, trying to make sense of it. Was I losing it? Stress from the move? I decided to call the landlord. His name was Mr. Harlan, an older guy who'd sounded gruff but straightforward when we signed the papers. "Mr. Harlan? It's Alex, from the rental on Oak Ridge Road. Listen, has anyone ever reported strange noises here? Like knocking?" There was a long pause on the line, the kind that makes your skin crawl. Then he sighed. "You're hearing the knocking, aren't you?" My stomach dropped like a stone. He went on, his voice low, like he didn't want to say it out loud. The previous tenant, a guy named Tom who lived alone just like me, had complained about the same thing. Started with the door, then moved inside. He thought someone was breaking in, trying to scare him out. One night, he called the cops in a panic. When they got there, took them 20 minutes on those back roads, they found him in the bedroom. Dead. No wounds. No poison. No heart attack on the autopsy. Just his face twisted in terror, eyes wide open like he'd seen something unimaginable. The house sat empty after that until I came along. "Why didn't you tell me?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "Didn't want to scare off a good renter," he muttered. "Figured it was just stories. Small towns, you know. People talk." I hung up, furious and terrified. My lease had a 2-month minimum, and breaking it meant losing my deposit plus penalties I couldn't afford. I had to stick it out. That day I drove into town and bought better locks, a baseball bat, even some motion sensor lights for the yard. I set up alerts on everything. If something was happening, I'd catch it. Night 4. I stayed up, bat in hand, sitting in the living room with the lights dim. The clock ticked past 1:30, then 2 o'clock. Nothing. Relief washed over me. Maybe it was over. But at 2:17 a.m., it started. Not slow this time, frantic knocking, pounding from the hallway wall, like fists slamming desperately. Boom, 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 over and over, vibrating the pictures on the walls. It sounded like someone trapped, begging to be let out. "Stop!" I screamed, jumping to my feet. The bat trembled in my grip. The knocking paused. Then, from the other side of the wall, a whisper. Soft, raspy, like wind through dry leaves. "Alex." My full name, Alexander James Reed. No one out here knew that. I'd only given my first name to the landlord. I don't remember much after that. I backed into the bedroom, locked the door, and huddled under the covers until morning, knife clutched like a lifeline. The whispers didn't come back, and the knocking stopped as suddenly as it began. Sunlight finally pierced the blinds, and I emerged, shaken, but alive. The next 2 weeks were a blur. No more knocks, no whispers. I barely slept, jumping at every creak. I packed what I could and moved out early, forfeiting the deposit. Found a cramped apartment back in the city, noise and all. It felt safer. That should have been the end. But last month, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. No text, just a video attachment. I shouldn't have opened it, but curiosity won. It was security footage, my old porch camera, the one I'd left behind. Timestamp, 2:17 a.m., the night of the frantic knocking. The video showed the empty porch at first, then a figure appeared at the door, from inside the house. It was me. My face, pale and expressionless, knocking on the door from the wrong side. 3 slow knocks at first, then faster, desperate. My mouth moved, whispering my own name. I deleted the video, blocked the number, but I know it's out there, and sometimes, late at night, I wonder if the knocking will start again. Not from outside, but from within.